Hello, in this video I'm taking a look at 3 therapies that will not help you overcome driving anxiety or anxiety of any other kind for that matter. So let's get straight into it and let's look at these 3 joke therapies that just don't do anything. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Paul and I work online with people all over the world to help them overcome their fear of driving. So these are not things that I just think won't work, these are things that clients tell me don't work because I've done them and they've had no success. So the first one is one of the most ridiculous methods I ever hear of, which is something called havening. Havening is simply doing this. And people pay thousands of pounds to go on courses to learn how to do this. You think I'm joking? You go and look it up. Havening is simple. What you're supposed to do is you rub your arms like this and you're supposed to say something to yourself like, back into my body. So you sit there, you focus on your problem and you go, right, I've got my driving anxiety. I can see myself driving. I'm getting nervous. Back into my body, back into my body, back into my body. Surprisingly, it doesn't work. The idea behind it is, because all of these what we call modalities, all therapies, a modality is like a style of therapy. Like in martial arts, you've got karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, different modalities, different styles. So when I talk about modalities, these are the different styles and methods therapists use. The theory behind havening is that by crossing your arms, you're crossing the subconscious to the conscious. I don't see how that works, but that's what they say. And the idea of rubbing, it's supposed to make you feel like you're a child and your parents are hugging you and you're going back to your childhood so you can relive a time when you were loved and you didn't have the problem. Yeah, that's havening and it's a load of absolute rubbish. It's not going to do anything, right? Because when people come to me, I understand a lot of people are desperate, and I'm very keen to point out that my therapy is not anything wacky. Right? I don't do wacky stuff. It's purely scientific, logical. There's a little bit of like unexplained stuff in there, but I'll get to that at the end. I'll tell you more about what I do. The second one, which is a load of rubbish, is something called EMDR, which I think from having trained in this is something like eye movement desensitization reprogramming or something like that. And this one is very much like havening, except that instead of rubbing your arms, this apparently gets rid of your problem. All you do is you move your eyes left to right. And apparently that fixes your problem. Do you need me to tell you that, surprise, surprise, it doesn't work? It's just a joke. The therapist will sit in front of you and they'll just move their finger like this. And you have to move your eyes like this, looking side to side to side. And it's supposed to, again, the idea is by moving your eyes left to right, you access the conscious and the unconscious mind. And by focusing on your problem, right, it's not doing anything. I can tell you why they think it does, but it doesn't. It doesn't do a thing. Do you honestly think that fixing your problem is as simple as moving your eyes left to right? And the funny thing about this is that somebody actually got, like, whatever you call it, trademark, copyright, whatever it was. So you're not allowed to actually say you do EMDR unless you pay thousands of pounds to have a license in telling people to move their eyes left and right. So instead, people call it bilateral stimulation. And there's one man who apparently, he saw someone doing this and he thought, I wondered if it would work diagonally. So he does it diagonally. He gets people to move their eyes like that. And it's a load of rubbish, right? This is all people who haven't got a clue what they are doing. And they're just making up these gimmicky methods. I mean, do you honestly think that doing this and moving your eyes, how is that going to fix anything? Apparently you can stop people smoking by doing that. Yeah, apparently. And the third one I'm going to talk about might surprise you, because the third one is journaling. And I say it might surprise you because it's quite a popular one. The idea of journaling is that you write down, it's like a diary, simply writing a diary. So you put, "Dear journal, today I thought about driving and I got nervous." Does it work? No. Let me tell you why all these things fail. You see, what they're doing is they're coming up with some gimmicky method that they think is going to somehow bring out the problem. So the idea with the journaling is it's simply writing the problem, and as you write about it, you think about different elements of it, and you start to realise it doesn't make sense. Now, to be fair, that is how you fix the problem. You do kind of take the problem and the truth, because if you say, "I can't drive a car," it's not true. You can drive a car, because in most cases you used to, not all the time, but many people used to be able to drive. Now they can't. So you can see how it's actually false to say you can't, because you can. You've just kind of forgotten, or maybe you've lost a bit of confidence or something, but you can do it. That's what these methods are doing. The journaling is simply attempting to bring up those memories. The rubbing yourself, again, there's an element of truth in it. Although I laugh at it and make fun of it, there is an element of truth, because yes, sometimes it is about finding an old memory. Something happened when you were a kid. For example, I have a memory in my mind. I know up to a certain age I could do something, and after that age I couldn't. And I know the event that made that change. But it still didn't fix the problem, because it isn't that simple. It's not as simple as just finding the event. So all this about rub your arms and your parents are hugging you and you're a child. Yes, there is some truth to it, but it's not the whole picture. So what's different about what I do? Well, I make no miracle claims. I openly say what I do does not always work. But what I do is I simply believe, and yes, I could call myself a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist. I don't like those labels, because to be fair, I hardly ever use hypnosis anymore. What I do, over my years of experience in this job, is I've found the best thing to do is this. You talk about the problem. Right? And as I've described my method to you, notice how there's no weird paranormal, spiritual powers going on. This is logical, but also a little bit wacky, and that's why it works. So let me explain what I do. We talk about your problem. So we'll talk about your driving and the symptoms you get, like you can't drive over a bridge or at night or whatever. We then think about the time when you could. And if you've never driven, well, there was a time you were a passenger in a car, or there'll be some time when you could be in a vehicle without being scared. And we work out what changed. That's my method. Now, isn't that just logical? There's a little bit of illogic in there, because you maybe don't know why it changed. So, for example, I've had people who had a fear of driving because they failed an exam at school. That's quite a common reason. That kind of knocked their confidence, which came back years later when they were driving. Now, that's the bit that's a bit weird. Why that works, not sure. There's a theory that when you were driving, you maybe thought of the exam, or a song on the radio reminded you of that year or something. It's a theory. We don't really know is the truth. We just don't know. But something kind of brought back those old feelings. So we talk about your driving. In that case, they realise the exam. One person, as I was talking to them, said, "I've just got this thing in my mind about a screwed up piece of paper." And I said, "What's a screwed up piece of paper got to do with driving?" And they said, "Oh, it's when I did these exams. And I remember I failed and I got angry and screwed up this piece of paper." That's how we got to the problem. So we just talk about your current problem. We go back to an old problem which is somehow linked, and you break the link. And it's that simple. There's no rubbing your arms or moving your eyes, or you can sometimes close your eyes, it helps you focus, but you don't have to. So please be wary of these weird, gimmicky therapists, because my experience of therapists is a lot of them are just really strange people. Like some of the things I've heard therapists say about apparently someone said that their client's driving problem was caused by a gypsy blood curse. Yeah, you can tell when I think about that. I am a very logical, straight down the middle of the road, average, everyday person. Okay, I don't sit wearing a cape and put a big skull on my head and go and bring up some mystical power. The work I do, and one reason I'm so popular is it's just logical with enough illogic in it to make it work, because you won't solve your problem just logically. There's that slight element of, I don't really know what happened there. Maybe some people start crying. Don't know why you started crying. They can't explain why. There's a little bit of the unknown which makes it work, but it's largely explainable and scientific, and it's logical and rational. That's what I believe. So please don't come to me if you want some what's known as woo-woo in the industry, what we call woo-woo therapy. People who believe in gypsy curses and supernatural curses. I've had people who think that their driving anxiety has been caused by aliens. Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know that there are a lot of wacky therapists out there, and there are some really weird, strange people who work in therapy. My background of 20 years as a driving instructor means I'm a grounded person. Right? My job as a driving instructor involves holding a wheel, or at least the pupils do, pressing the pedals, turning the wheel, parking a car. I believe in real world results, not this weird close your eyes, rub your arms and some mystical power is taking over your mind. Rubbish. All hypnosis is, as I've said, is focus. It's not this weird stuff where people believe they're a dog and they bark and all that. It's focus. They only do those things because they're focused, but I don't focus on making you bark like a dog. I focus on the problem. You didn't used to have the problem, and now you have. What changed? That's how my therapy works. Watch these videos on the screen now to learn more about me and my style of therapy, and if you'd like to work with me one-to-one online from anywhere in the world, contact me through my website firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.